last time I recorded, I found this trilobite, and then like not that long after, the reason I found this trilobite, coming back here, is because I was thinking, well, there's flows coming in here into South America, and they're probably coming in like whatever this is. So I was kind of curious what this was. I looked here. Looks almost like a drilling point. So I kind of looked right there exactly, literally. I know I say literally a lot. 68.527. I mean, pretty much. Pretty much. Why exactly there would be a trilobite there, I'm not sure. But then I saw this, dudes. You ready? Are you ready? I'll just show you. I'll show you here. And then I'll show you how maybe you don't see it yet. If I put it right there, maybe you just see it. Maybe you see it, pardon me. It took me a while to see it, as you'll see if you watch my other two videos where I go through this map. But once I saw it, I was like, I see it. I see it. Do you see it? This drainage point right here. Dude, it's like down, 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 down. Baby, even if the skies are falling down. And right next to that, like spawning off of it, is a flame, dudes. Check it out. Check it out. Flame. Actually doing like a flame shape here. This is a flame shape. And it's pretty much coming in from a very like pew, pew, just spreading out here. And then this right here is seemingly, I started looking, I'm like, this is probably where Chicxulub was, right here. I've been saying Chicxulub reached all the way down here. I can see why people think I'm dumb. But here maybe, like I've been kind of just like, well, maybe it doesn't reach there. Here, this looks pretty, like maybe here. Like, basically right there at this junction where where the type of mountain changes. From below it, there's this. It's almost like a ripple started, like it was tearing. But it was, I guess, tearing in this direction more so than this direction, because I don't think there's equivalent mountains over here. Maybe in Antarctica, if that's where Antarctica was exactly-ish. There's some kind of evidence of like the energy going in both sides of the motions down here, but out this way, into whatever landmass was generally there. So I thought that was worthy of just bringing up before I mean, do I just stop, dude? Check it out, and then end this video. It's a flame, dudes. The whole of the northern South America is just a flame passing through it. That trails off through these openings over here. I'm realizing there's so many fundamentals that I'm just casually stumbling on there. Like bonds, like this thing, the double bond, single bond principle concept. Like, that shit's happening, guys. So let's follow this little spot here. So this one, so that this the reason I saw this and the reason I think I'm certain this is to the core because this thing, this little fin was basically here, was here. Now that I see it, I'm like, okay, Chicxulub was not where I thought it was. I thought it was all the way down here. My bad, guys. Something that could have easily been corrected for if I just bothered to measure the distance. Like, okay, this literally cannot wrap around and reach like this. Like, if I were to put Florida here, is kind of what I was thinking. But it looks like it doesn't even do that. Like, it physically is here. And then here is South America. So, like, it didn't actually have, seemingly, maybe land here in the Gulf already. Maybe the Gulf just didn't have land, but I don't know. I think we would know the ocean floor there was older to a point where it must have had something. I don't know. That's why I thought a gap opened. So it must, like, this was here and it just split it far enough. And this just wrapped physically around like this. But it's just too far. But what's not too far, it looks like, is this here. This here. And this maybe here-ish, I guess. Maybe not at Chicxulub, but it's just draining from a certain location, like here. With from the top layer, I guess, draining into this layer. Draining. And what didn't drain fanned out into the flame in South America. Irrefutable. Oh, this is insane, guys. I cannot wait to put this together into a cohesive unit of a presentation. Be like, there. Notice how I explained everything. Earth processes pretty well. Like, let me look around. Let's see. Let's see if I can, like, based on what I've learned, maybe come up with anything just by looking at the surface now. I was thinking, like Australia, that concept that there's just a penetrating force underneath Australia. Not this one. I was looking, they have other maps. I can't wait to, like, really see if anywhere is anywhere near as useful for me as this has been. Here's Australia, and it's just penetrating underneath it, carving underneath. So maybe there's some signs of this where we can then be like, oh, that's why that's like that. Like, this kind of looks like maybe the fingers going around this blob, this big blob. Oh, what am I doing? This thing, maybe there. It looks like it went down the middle and split the blob, the core, in half of Australia. Oh my god, I gotta put this at the beginning. Close that. Close that. Close the second tab of that. I posted this on Facebook, said, I am on fire with a EYE. Like, I don't usually post on Facebook because people don't like to see my posts there, I don't think. But, come on, guys. How are you gonna fucking not notice there's literally a flame truly here once I show you? Like see the curvatures of the flame, the nuances. Flame? Like, yeah. I see it. It's kind of like a flaming ball. Must have just been coming in this location, not just into the core, but into the South America, and just gushing across into the crevice corners where it just could not like get out of the corners, and pressure kept building behind it, so it just broke through into Africa, like then into the body of Africa as well at these points, and just fed in to these little tendril points branching off of it. A flame. Who knows what kind of like physics can be understood? What maybe even how like the understanding of an eyeball could come from these kinds of things. Like this, I, I can't fathom. Maybe we could literally discover deep understandings of eyeballs from just the nuances of how this mound formed. I mean, let's see. This is a half a mile. Just the eyeball is a half a mile. I have not measured the whole thing. Let's see how big this spine is. I can just kind of go like this, I guess. There's a mile. Almost 2 mile long spine. Maybe even bring it generally to the middle there. 2.5 miles, let's say. And then its head is another 2 miles. I doubt people are aware. I would like to see. I googled just out of curiosity. This is what I came up with, and it's. Maybe if I hit download. Trilobites in Chile. Bull. Boo. Let's see how close that is to this place. Oh. What? Oh, way down there. Trilobites. Interesting right there. Like at this feature where it must have been waves, like energy from this way and this way, because here the trilobite or the ammonite shape of the Earth's crust before it fractured allowed for energy. Like naturally, there were grooves that kind of went this way, so any energies flowing generally west to east here can just pass through the grooves without really getting like blocked in the same way as they get blocked like by a wall, like they can't flow through because of a wall. But over here, where is that one? There, it looks like this, maybe. I think that's it right there. It is kind of in line with this flow, which comes across here. Comes across here and then meets up at the tip of Africa. So that was maybe there at this point. But it's just spewing, like as they separate, it's just spewing an arc behind it, leaving a trail from all these, just dragging a trail behind it. And then leaving like a big patch of debris at the end. I'm not completely sure what material is involved in this. My thoughts are it's just oceanic crust that formed an entire new layer. This material, oceanic crust, just formed a new layer of the Earth, like between layers, underneath layers, to basically lift the continental crust on top of it, put it on top of it. Like that's why it's flowing underneath it. it's going underneath it so that the crust is on top of it. But then it filled in the entirety of underneath it of the continents, and the only thing it could do then was to just physically expand the globe everywhere it could between the crevices, because the actual bodies were full of whatever material. Like, this must have been in some way full, although it's very possible this is highly related to like an explosiveness at the end, more so than like a continuous, this is how it was the whole process. Because this is crazy here. This is just like boom energy. Just some big dog energy. No, it's not quite the right term, but I've been thinking about this. I do believe this is plausible to be related to Mount Gurnar. I don't know why. I've seen signs of things looking staggered, and it's probably because they're polygonal. Like, it's not just the boundaries that are polygonal are not just sideways looking down on the earth. Like, there are 120-degree angles there. But if you could like go into the earth and look at the angles that form like into the earth of down the side of the crust, it also has polygonal shapes where it's got like tabs. Like, let me see if I can find a good one. I think I took pictures of this. This is probably good. So it's kind of carving holes in here. Ammonites are here. There's a bunch of ammonites here. So this is ammonite-related processes. And if you notice here, there's these little tabs that form on the side of the elevated crust here. Like, this is kind of what's going on, but on a large scale, where there's tabs that form, that bond between layers, adjacent systems, not layers, but adjacent systems. And then they literally, on a large enough scale, can cause different angles to a point where maybe, I'm just thinking, I think this is feasible, where maybe this is actually a polygonal uplift at a sideways angle. Mind you, Mount Gurnar has a... Here's Mount Gurnar. People who don't know Mount Gurnar, I highly recommend looking into Mount Gurnar. I can give you a kickstart on that one in my other videos, but like, highly recommend just checking it out. It is a hell of a place. Gorgeous. No, I don't want to say hell of a place, but... So here's Mount Gurnar. Measured distance from there to here, let's say, whatever. 17 kilometers, 10 miles in diameter, just about. But the truth is, Mount Gurnar actually is more like this. Something like that. Maybe a little less than that. I'm pretty sure 60 kilometers. There's a physical block that Mount Gurnar is part of that extends below it at an angle on both sides, sloping around it, almost like a crystal peak coming out of the earth. That's literally like 60 kilometers in radius. Like, it pretty much, it seems like, in diameter, it seems like it reaches the lightning strike from the storm, the vortex storm that was caused by the attack on Dwarka. The vortex storm comes over here, over here, over here. Lightning strikes, and it's this boundary is not just like arbitrary, it's physically where the boundary of Gurnar's uplift essentially reaches to, at least at a depth. So basically, maybe, I mean, it's plausible that there's a network that's connected to that also kind of just goes directly to here, boom, to where this is, and it's kind of far. Okay, what else can we see here? Let's look around. I still think it's possible there's like the moon was somewhere involved in this. In the chaos of it all, there's the moon was just blown off and then created in 4 hours, as they say. Energy went through here also, but maybe these lines are kind of representative of the flow angles. These are much more like. It's not here. Where did I put it? Shallograms related. There it is. Like this, a flow angle, and then the perpendicular features. Flow angle. So it looks like this was going this way, but then when it started to erupt, it literally went this way. That's probably why this huge wave came into here, pretty much like that. This was drilling here, and then temporarily, I guess it was drilling maybe there and there and there and there, like jumping. Looks like maybe even here, like it just went boop, 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 and then sat here for a while, maybe until the Earth finished expanding. I don't know. Like that's just where it ended, and then it kind of left behind. Although it looks like maybe it kept going to there. Maybe it ended near where the mountains on the western side start to have like grass underneath them. Greenery, like the greenery here. Maybe that's where this like energy flow kind of stopped here, more so. Focused there, so it literally could not really, it didn't influence down here. Maybe. It does look like that from this too. Like this is suddenly right around here. There's a change. Oh, this keeps going. I don't know. This is cutting across. What is this? Cutting. It probably goes to the eye, I guess, or pretty much it does right there. All the roads lead to the eye. Let's see. Okay. Um. I might just be done now. Rather than sit here just kind of mouth moving this around over and over, I also realize it's probably hard to see the outline. I know I can, but like maybe you don't have quite the screen in front of you that I have. I can see the outline. A lot of times it's like impossible to tell what's happening here without like the boundary is just too. They use too small of a line size if they just change the pixels or whatever to make it a little wider. My recommendation, guys. Awesome thing, but like it's hard to tell where the contents are. It's just a couple pixels of width to that would help a lot. I know it hides the data a little bit, but like it's hard to tell. And maybe even if some type of just outlines as an option to like click on and off to the just countries maybe, because it is kind of hard to tell where exactly the middle is here. I know you can just find the latitude, longitude, but that's not quite as clean. I'm sorry. Just anyway. Okay. Let's see, so where's Azores Plateau? No, let's just check it out. Because I was just thinking about Flemish Cap. So it comes in here through the Hamish, or Mediterranean. Hamish? I don't even know what I was saying. Like Flemish, but with an H. I don't know where the H came from. But comes in this way. And I mean, it's barely detectable. Maybe here. It's not detectable. It makes it just I don't know, but I haven't like really made sure. But I think Flemish Cap is more likely than the Azores to be where like the crux of Atlantean civilization was able to be will be able to be found. Or more than likely will be able to find wherever it is, and it's probably Flemish Cap and not Azores Plateau. Maybe Azores Plateau has remnants. I wouldn't be surprised if there's remnants, like components from that, like chunks that are down under that didn't quite make it across. They didn't become part of the system. They didn't become part of the system, so they kind of formed in the middle and didn't move, like form and coalesce with. Like sometimes they form adjacent and then get like stuff pushing it from here, just pushing it over so that it stays adjacent, like right there, kind of thing. But sometimes it doesn't. So maybe it's more like that. This looks like where it is right here. This is probably it. Let's see. So it is drilling in here pretty substantially. For some reason, it does look like it drilled in more so than like here. It was able to move more freely here. Like it's certainly drilling in a bit, but it was able to move more freely, I'd say. But for sure, this one is tied to this first one. So over here, this flow through here it kind of channels off this way sometimes, but it looks like the main current is trying to be this one, and it goes this way and out here. But at other times, it looks like it also goes through here and through this way. So it looks like that one is tied to here, to this one, maybe. This is probably related to this, nothing too significant. This is maybe of interest. This region, whatever made this so different looking. I guess current was just flowing here. There's a boundary here for sure. Current. This was like almost like a mouth connected to here. So it formed a wall on one side, a wall on the other side. So it's a wall and a wall to basically keep the material flowing from the under Europe and into this channel rather than into over here. But then I guess it mostly, for whatever reason, it created another wall here, and then really it preferred to go this way because there's oceanic crust forming out here that's kind of pushing this way. But it's flowing, so it really did create a current like this. For sure, there's a substantial current going this way, which then deflects at South America and produced a mound there. At least some portion of this deflecting. Also, New Zealand or Zealandia is a thought to be like a remnant of a continent, and I was thinking maybe it didn't have the activation energy. Like it had activation energy for sure, so it was forming like a boundary. So essentially the energy over here coming out of here. So there's energy coming out of here, right here, going into Australia from this point and from this point into Australia, pushing it away. So it initially was more here, pushing underneath it, pushing it away, creating a space between the two, which in that space formed a temporary continent. But then the earth expanded, and no longer was there really the energy that was flowing through it, and instead just something broke it. Maybe it didn't even have to, and it just wasn't enough activation energy. And when the energy just stopped flowing in the way it was flowing here, everything else around it was able to just basically put enough pressure to ruin the feature, so it wasn't actually able to form a like continent, not even a continent though. Like this would have been accreted onto here probably in some way, like connected to Australia, and just got this gap formed because of whatever reason of what was exactly happening. And then it just sunk. Like it was like the ceiling collapsed because the ceiling was too like not complete. Just not enough support structure, but enough weight to just literally collapse, especially with weight on top of it. Just collapse. Push it in, and then it's kind of, there's no continent, nothing. It's not resting on anything anymore. Here it was okay because the energy, I guess, wasn't able to remove the fact that it had uplifted enough material around it, I guess, to create those bodies. I don't know. Although they're really not over, like this is over another void. Is this highly volcanic down here? This one. This has a lot of that dendrite stuff going on. From here to towards Australia. Dendrites. It's almost like it discharged into Australia from this region somehow. When it wasn't able to form like the stable system and had to collapse to a new equilibrium, it had to discharge maybe towards a cathode. So this is like an anode discharging towards a cathode. Anode branching. Anode starting from small slivers and then branching into dendritic features as it moves towards the cathode. Especially visible in the mountain chains. I'm not sure. This is obviously not as distinct as Himalayas. I'm basing that off of the Himalayas, where I do strongly believe that there is a tendency in the Himalayas to start over on this side and dendrite out this way. So like where the snow-capped mountains are, they start over here and then they dendrite into India, whereas there's inverse dendrites going into Tibet. Dendrite into India, dendrite inverse into Tibet, into India, inverse into Tibet. So there's like a tendency for the dendrites to form from what I would call anode, like a negative system, a low density, to a craton high density. Like it's just anode cathode to basically produce some sort of flow that tends in a direction that branches off from the direction it's flowing. So this is pretty much, it's branching off. It's a flow from over here, flowing this way, but it's complex flow, so it branches off in lots of ways, but then it produces the observation of a tendency to start in less branches and to branch outward into more branches from north to south in the Himalayas, just like systematically, because it is systematic. It's how it's formed. Is That's why I'm looking at this like, well, maybe there is something like that going on here. I don't know. Doesn't have to be so, but I'm just spitballing it pretty much based off of that there's just this like void under it too, and yet it's very mountainous. I don't know. Okay, what else can I randomly find while moving this map around? I feel like I have not looked into the Indian Ocean enough. Here, for instance, so this is bulging out this way, and it does go down here. So not only does it go up here and here, it also starts cutting between India and Oman and Yemen, I guess. Or maybe over here. It looks like it cut this way, though, but this for sure was connected. But there's really no sign of this type of cutting along the boundary. So it went down this way, and then maybe follow this to the tip of India, and this is pretty much, okay, so it's running from the tip of India along Western Africa, basically. That's what is really happening here. It's probably also along the Madagascar here, part of it. Like Madagascar was here-ish somewhere, generally speaking. So along that, and then along here, and then it pretty much runs. So this one runs into Antarctica. Boop, and then along here into Antarctica. And if I follow it here, let's see, maybe if I take this out this way, where does that go? We just follow it, probably follow it here to exactly to there. So maybe here, this tip of Antarctica or Australia is on the tip of India, as well as the tip of Africa. Those three are basically conjoined at this point, maybe just based on this a bit. And then probably that means almost guaranteed that this was up in here then. I don't know why. Because a lot of this is debris. That's really hard to judge based on it's because it wasn't really there. Who knows where it was? It's just debris from the explosion. It's hard to be like this chunk. Even Papua New Guinea maybe is a little more feasible because it just has a straight side like this, which is strongly suggestive that it formed maybe here. Let me look at the thing. Maybe here at Baja, California. Not here. Is this? Let's see how long that is. A 1,000 miles. Maybe like there. I mean, I'm just guessing a starting point here, maybe here. It's around 1,000, so this probably was there. This was there. Australia was stuck there. So there really does seem to be a missing component up here. That's probably the moon. Hey, maybe the moon got shot off, and I'm mistaken. The eye has nothing to do with the Australia formation. Like the eye just it blasted off a segment of Earth. $14.6 million square miles. How do I find? I mean, it's probably like here. Measure distance here to here, at least. So diameter. Let's say. How much more do I add to make it up to 4,000? It probably is pushing 4,000 miles in diameter. So let's just say 4,000 mile diameter circle radius. Or whatever. Meters, miles, 4,000. 2,000. Circle area. Million, billion, trillion. I probably did that wrong. Pi r. The surface area of a circle is pi r squared, right? It's pi r squared, right? Okay. Pi times 4,000 squared. $50 million. 50 million square miles. What did I just see the Earth to be? Or the moon to be? In, what did I do to get rid of the moon surface area? There it is. 14.6. So I based off of the entirety of the eye starting like here. But really, what if I, like, Mariana Trench to maybe, let's see, what's a good reference point? The dragon thing is here. So let's say the beginning of the dragon thing is this side of the hexagon, and the Mariana Trench is the other side. And let's see how far that is. Measure there. 2,000. So then the surface area 1,000 times, or let's not get rid of that one. 1,000 squared times pi. I mean, it's certainly like in the range then. So it could have put off 3 million square miles of surface area of a materials just launched into space that could be missing from the Earth that was right there. Basically filling a region that's not able to be accounted for without realizing that it launched, literally it removed a continental crust polygon and shot it off into space. I mean, it does have the area. It has the area just within this to make it, like, maybe not exactly the hexagon, but some of this, like, if it's shooting off material from here, it seems like it has the area to actually provide sufficient material to make a moon. And maybe that's why there's like remnants of society on the moon too. Like, people are like, they're living on the moon. People are on the moon. Maybe they're just like a chunk of the crust was blasted off and has like pyramids from Earth literally on the moon because of the Earth's expansion process. Although I've never seen pyramids per se, I've just seen some oddities on the moon. Who knows, maybe it's on the far side of the moon by just like circumstances that made it so we could never see the actual side that lifted off. We only get to see like the other side somehow. Maybe it's split. Who knows? Split like the crust. What I mean is like a crust that's split somewhere in half and spread out and created like a sphere out of it. I don't think so, but it's just said it as a thought. That's all. Okay. I'll stop here. I know my videos have been ridiculously long and probably just hard to keep up with because I'm just moving this around like, wee! Ah! All the lines. Hard to tell, especially if you can't see the outline. This is incredible, though. I had to start recording when I saw this. I saw this last night at like 2 a.m. or something, 3 a.m. even, and I had to make this. So let's see, when did I find it? It's almost 3 a.m. I just quickly took a screenshot of it and then overlaid some stuff and posted this and went to bed. It's like, this is insane, though. I have to share this real quick. All right, with that in mind, peace out.